My favorite Lebanese dishes, shish kebab, shawarma, kibbeh, these are all made that much better with the Lebanese rice side dish that goes with them. It's called Lebanese Vermicelli Rice. It's a pilaf, but there's a special ingredient that makes this rice dish particularly Lebanese and particularly delicious, and that is these vermicelli noodles. They're really thin, very tiny little noodles that are cut into 1/2 inch pieces or so. I love the pre-cut vermicelli because you can just toss it in and go, and that makes it much easier. But you can also make your vermicelli noodles by breaking up the thinnest noodle you can find, like angel hair pasta, and breaking them into small pieces. Sometimes I've been desperate and I've gone all the way up to like a spaghetti noodle, and that works fine too. But you'll find the cut noodles in my online market and in local ethnic shops. Sometimes you can find them there too. So let's make Lebanese vermicelli rice. We're gonna start with the rice. The rice is long grain. I love Mahatma brand, but any long grain white rice will work. And I like to rinse the rice, and that just takes some of the starch out. So we're gonna start there with rinsing the rice. Just get it right into a bowl. I'm putting it into a bigger bowl here because having more space just helps with getting that starch off the rice. So you can see I'm filling my bowl with water, and I'm just gonna keep pouring off. You do this 4 or 5 times till the rice is rinsed really nicely. My mom's favorite brand of rice for her Lebanese pilaf was Uncle Ben's. And I still use that sometimes too. So if that's what you have, that's gonna work great. So give it one final rinse. Get off just as much of the water as you can. There'll still be a little bit in there, and that's okay. Okay, now let's go over to the stove and get started. I'm starting with a couple of tablespoons of butter, and I'm gonna melt these. Can you use extra virgin olive oil? Yes, absolutely, and I do all the time. I just want to show you though how great the noodles, the vermicelli cut noodles, brown in the butter, because the butter foams up in a way that oil does not. All right, and just as the butter finishes melting, add a 1/3 cup of the vermicelli noodles. Get them really nicely coated with the butter, and stay on top of this because the burn factor can happen really easily. I like to keep the heat up a decent amount though, because that will create a foam that surrounds the noodles and gets them browned really nice and evenly. Just when the dark ones start to get too dark, that's when I'm going to add some finely chopped onion, 1 small onion, finely chopped. Coat that good. I'm going to turn the heat down. And a crushed clove of garlic. Yeah. These aromatics add so much flavor to the rice pilaf. If you wanted to make the rice without these 2 ingredients, it will still be delicious, and you can move right to adding the rice. But this classic way of making rice pilaf is really, it tastes so good. Okay, there's that. Adding about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Give that a stir. And put the lid on, reduce the heat, and let that cook for just a couple of minutes. soften the onions. Really, that's the goal here. Okay, the vermicelli noodles have been cooking with the onion and the garlic. Oh, that smells so aromatic and delicious. We're gonna now add the rice. These have softened. Now we're gonna add the rinsed rice. And just stir that up to coat the rice and evenly distribute those onions and those vermicelli noodles. Okay, now I am making my rice pilaf with chicken broth. That's my liquid. You can use water, you can use vegetable broth, whatever you prefer. I have 2 cups of rice here, and to those 2 cups, I'm gonna add about 3 cups of liquid. I like to really hold back on my liquid and then just add more later, just so I can ensure that my rice doesn't get too soft. So 3.5 cups, and then you can always add an additional ½ cup if needed. We're going to bring that to a boil. Our rice is boiling now. We're going to turn it down to a simmer, a low simmer, and let that cook for about 30 minutes. Okay, we have Lebanese vermicelli rice that's been cooking for about 30 minutes. Oh, that's beautiful. You just want to fluff the rice up, a spoon or a fork before you serve it. Let's plate it with some shish kebab that I have. This rice is so good with so many main dishes, especially grilled meats. I've got some chicken kebabs here that I made, some shish taouk, and you put these on a plate with a nice scoop of this rice pilaf. Beautiful. On the side, or you can put the kebabs right on top. Your salad. I love to put some of these pickled turnips, which are of course a classic Lebanese condiment. You're gonna find you're making this rice dish all the time because it goes with so many things. Oh. You really get the onion and the garlic, so I recommend you go that route when you make this pilaf. So flavorful. The chicken broth as well. If you use water, be sure to add enough salt to compensate for not having used broth. Or if your broth is unsalted, make sure you do put some salt in. Excellent Lebanese vermicelli rice. This is the pilaf that is the side dish to know because it goes with everything. You can get the vermicelli noodles, cut vermicelli, on my online market at maureenaboudmarket.com, and more recipes at maureenaboud.com.